Hey there and welcome in. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about email in the form of, let's say retrospective, but also I'm going to add some of the opinion right from me. So if you are into those kind of stories, then stick around. Yeah, so how does mail work, right? I mean mail, not email. So you write it down, right? And you put a little bit of a stamp on it, which is like a payment method. And then you throw it somewhere into kind of an outbox, right? And then a postman comes, it takes your mail, it reads the address where it is supposed to go. And long story short, right, another mailman takes it into his hands in a while, right? There may be a third one in the middle, but it goes from one mail to another, right, to the last one, who will actually read the others once again and deliver it into your inbox, not yours, but the person who you have mailed it to, right? And they are going to, come home after work or something like that. They will check their mailbox. They will find a couple of mails there. One of them will be yours. They will take it out of their mailbox, take it to their home, and then read it, right? So after they take it out of the mailbox is now empty again because they have taken all of the mail out for reading, right? If this is something they care about, they might, put it into a different box and store it. And if they really don't care, if it's like, I don't know, a newsletter from a local pizza store, pizza shop, maybe they will just, throw it in trash or something of that kind. So how does post office protocol function? I mean the POP protocol that you all have probably at least heard about, right? So it works something like this. You type your email, right? And when you click send, you will already, of course, have the address of the receiving party, right? When you click send, you are basically telling your SMTP server to take care of the, sending your email, right? That's like comparable to your local postman, right? Because your local SMTP server is the one from which the sending of the email starts. So then the email travels through, I don't know, one server to another. Maybe it goes directly. Usually it goes directly nowadays, but there is a way that it can be relayed among a third party. But let's make it a little bit simplified to the most common practice, right? Your SMTP server will deliver it to the server of the receiving party, right? And the receiving party server is going to drop it into the inbox of the receiving person. And then when the person comes home from work, I'm trying to draw a parallel here, they will turn on their computer, they will pull their emails from their inbox, right? And once they do that, the inbox is now going to be empty because they have pulled all of their emails into their computer. Let's say they're using, I don't know, Thunderbird. So this is like their local reading program, right? This is where they're reading their emails, and all of their emails are now inside the Thunderbird local folders, and nothing is in their email inbox anymore. They have emptied it towards their local program for reading, right? And if this email that you have sent them is something that they care about, they might move it to another folder for safekeeping. And if it's like a spam email or something like that, they will for sure delete it. Or so it seems like. This is how it used to work always. Later on, we got something called Internet Message Access Protocol, IMAP, right? And what this brought to us is basically the ability to synchronize our inboxes with multiple computers. And this sounded really, really good in the beginning, and still is very widely used in the world as it is really practical for a lot of things. But I digress to some degree, and I'm going to elaborate it thoroughly just in a couple of minutes, right? So regarding the IMAP, one of the biggest shifts towards IMAP as a protocol, I would dare to say, was Gmail. I don't know how many of you are as old as I am to remember the beginnings of Gmail. Basically, all of us usually had like an email address with our internet service provider, and your email address would usually be like first name dot last name at the domain of your internet service provider dot whatever your country is, right? This is how basically all of our email addresses looked like. And it was pretty much the norm before Gmail um, aggressively took over, that most of us had a 20 megabyte inbox. And this was roughly enough for everyone who has used email regularly, because in 20 megabytes you can fit quite a lot of emails, and basically as they would come you would just take them out, um, let's say once a day. If you're not that much into email, maybe it would take you a couple of days until you would fetch all your emails and take them out of the inbox and make room for more emails to arrive, right? And if you were really lazy about taking care of your email, maybe you would ignore it for a month and you would not read your email for a month. And what this would do, right? Your email box would fill up completely. All of the 20 megabytes would fill up. And everyone who would send you a new email, they would get a reply from your email server that your email box is full and you cannot receive any more emails, right? And then these people will call you on the phone and told you like, dude, make some room in your mailbox. I want to send you a new email, right? And then quite sharply, Gmail took over the world with giving everyone 1 full gigabyte of email storage. Well, of course, this was huge, right? And everyone who jumped on this Gmail train, right? We all kind of continued to use it as we were, right? But I would empty my mailbox and I would have like a huge empty mailbox, right? And every time I would delete all my mails from Gmail, and I would have it locally on whatever application I was using at the time, then the webmail Gmail interface would kind of warn me like, don't delete emails, just keep them all in your inbox, and if you need them, just search for them, like use the search to find your emails within all of your junk, right? They made sure that all of the culture about the email shifts towards what Google does best, and that was searching, right? Indexing and searching. So basically, they succeeded in this. As you all know, nobody anymore deletes their emails from their inboxes. Maybe some of the more tidy people do delete junk from their mailbox, but most of them, or most of all of us, just keep all of our email in the server space, right? No longer we keep it on our computers. Uh, the practical side of things is that we now think of email as a synchronization method. It's no longer about fetching our email, it's all about synchronization, right? So you have usually you have like a computer and a smartphone, right? This is the list that you have, And the third one is usually webmail, right? So via webmail, you can access all your emails that is now uh, by norm stored on the server always, and you don't take it off on your computer, so you can read it via webmail. If you fire up your computer and maybe you're using an email application, this one also synchronizes, right? So when you delete something, it deletes everywhere, right? Basically, it deletes on the server, but the clients synchronize with the state of the server, right? And when you receive a new email on the go, you also get a notification on your phone. Your phone's application for handling email also does the synchronization with the server, right? So if you have your phone email application on at the same time as your computer email application, if you delete one mail on the phone, it will basically get synchronized through the server to your computer, right? And it will vanish from your computer as well. That's synchronization. This is hugely practical. However, what I have kind of discovered throughout the past few years is that we all get a lot of notifications. A lot of notifications on our smartphones, and this is a pretty regular part of our daily lives. And we feel very much pressured about answering all of the notifications from humans, right? uh, Maybe not about some automated notifications from various services, but if it's a notification from your whatever social media, so you know what I'm saying, from other humans, right? You tend to react to that and reply. If it's an email, you tend to react and reply on the go. If it's a WhatsApp message, Telegram message, Matrix message, all kinds of notifications from other humans, right? We tend to reply to them pretty quickly, and this is like the norm in today's society. Maybe you are not exactly the way I just described, but I firmly believe that the majority of the people are like that today, right? And what this creates a certain disruption in our I'm not sure if I can express myself properly, but we no longer live as naturally as we used, right? If you rewind to when you were younger, before you had a smartphone, right? Maybe you're old enough to, like I am, to remember what it was to hang out with people outside without having a phone at all. You would have a phone at home, but it was wired, and of course, you couldn't take it with you. So, what this looked like, usually we would just had a deal with a couple of us. Like, let's say the three of us, four of us, five of us are meeting on a coffee or something, and we would say, let's meet at 5 o'clock on the main square, right? And you would really have to make sure that you get there on time, because if you are a couple of minutes late, then your friends would be, well, they might get a little bit angry. If it's your first time, then maybe not. But if you're always late, they would get angry, and they would kind of teach you to not do that. And everything was built around. I wouldn't put the emphasis on being punctual, but there weren't that many connections, the artificial connections. By artificial connections, I mean the internet connectivity in your pocket, right? So nowadays, you are free to be late to the meeting with your friends, and you just type, I'm late, right? I'm late, I'm coming, I'll be there. And this kind of sounds good, right? I guess it is. But what this adds to the stack is that another person will message you, and you will reply to that message. And while you're sitting on the coffee and having a conversation with another person, another notification will come in, and you might be, you might reply to that one as well, right? While the other people are like looking at you, uh, what you're doing. You're actually hanging out with your phone instead of the actual people who are here with you. However, this has long time stopped being the case, right? Now, every single one of you at the same table, everyone is actually hanging out with their own phones. And that's a little bit of a sad part of this story. And I'm not saying that IMAP is the guilty party for this, but the advancement in technology, right, has led up to this point. And I'm going to cut it here because I don't want this video to be needlessly too long. I have already made a couple of videos about, well, uh, the problems about social media nowadays, the problems of social media. And what I'm going to end this video with is that I actually believe that some of the advancements in the technology are not only not needed, but also we should quit them while we still can. For example, IMAP for personal email, I don't think we need that. I think it's plenty enough that each one of us downloads all their emails locally to their computers, like, and only read them on your computer. I mean, like think about it. Do you really need to have instant access to your email, like when you're doing something entirely else? Would it not be better if you would be present in the moment doing whatever you're doing and then deal with email once you get home, like, let's say once per day? I think that's plenty enough to, reply to all of the emails, empty your inbox, deal with spam, delete what you don't need, put aside what you find valuable for safekeeping, and you could be done with a couple of emails in a short period of time, like once per day, and you have the rest of the 23 plus hours to live the rest of your life, right? And I still don't think that email is the guilty party for any of what I'm trying to talk about, but it adds up. It adds up, right? And I think we can all start with the little things, and the little things being email, right? I don't think that any one of us really needs like instant access to your email. There may be some cases when you will want instant access to your email. Maybe you are waiting for a really important email with an attachment from your doctor, and you really want to be you really want to be notified the very moment when this email arrives. In that case, make yourself some kind of a backup solution which will give you this notification, right? But these cases are usually when you will know in advance that you are actually awaiting some kind of an email, right? So in these cases, maybe do some kind of an alternative solution which will actually notify you that it has finally arrived, the mail that you have been waiting for, right? But generally, I think we should go back to the old ways of, the way that was a little bit more natural to how an actual snail mail still functions, right? So that's going to be it for me for today's video, and I hope you have your own opinion on this, because this is one of the topics that I very much like to discuss. So do me a favor and let's discuss.